Hey everybody, just kind of wanted to make this small video about fuels, just to make sure everybody kind of knows what I'm talking about. There's quite a bunch of different fuels. I don't have wood up here, but wood is going to be in this farther category. These types of setups that I do are typically on the fly. A lot of times I'm not doing an actual cooking. It's more of a heat up from already pre-cooked food. Having said that, these fuels are pretty much, in my opinion, just my opinion, in two completely separate classes. If you have something that's already pre-cooked and you need to heat it up, or let's say you needed to heat up water for tea or something like that, hot chocolate, oatmeal, you don't have to have boiling water for it. Even coffee. I mean, who wants to drink boiling coffee? So what I have here is just two completely, they're all fuels, but these ones we'll go over in a second, and these ones we'll go over right now. These are typically what I use to heat already cooked items up. In the first set here, my cat's trying to get some. My first set here is solid fuels. Typically these are Hexamine, and here's an Esbit brand. UST makes some. They were military fuel. They're really small. They have an odor, but typically they don't leave any kind of residue on your pot. They have a high BTU also. I know that the Esbits do. These I'm not really sure about. I haven't tested them all that, but these get pretty hot, and a really nice blue flame, and typically don't leave a whole bunch of mess. Back here a little bit is what we've been testing with the fancy heat. That's the wicked. What is it? It's a glycol liquid, and it's basically wicked. And it's really similar to this, which is your normal gelled fuel for fondue sets. You might have seen them at like corporate outings where they've have food catered and they just know to keep it warm. They will heat things up good. They struggle to boil. That's pretty much well known in the stove and cook set community. And then this is not what we normally use, but I just brought this up here because it's a big bottle and it says hand sanitizer on it. And hand sanitizer is not the best. It's not better than really any of these. The hand sanitizer, depending on what they have mixed with it, it doesn't perform as well as some of the other fuels. This one right here, I think it's about a 63% alcohol, and it performs, but it doesn't do a very good job. We got a lot of that 75% that I use all the time. I think we got a 200 count for like 30 cents. So like, I use it a lot because we have a bunch of it and it was so cheap, why not? But here in this section is going to be pretty much your heating up things that are already cooked, not cooking. So typically the sets that I build these in are very small, very lightweight for just heating up stuff. Over towards this side over here is more for actual cooking. Denatured alcohol works in your Trangia type stoves, your alcohol burners. Some of them are super fast, like these. Like if it's made out of a small soda can, they don't really have any kind of lasting heat. They're kind of like burn for 10 minutes and that's it. If you use any kind of denatured alcohol, which is typically what we use when we're actually cooking. Now that's boiling water for ramen. That's boiling, trying to think of anything. Like if you need to have water hot, you need to have it fast. It's kind of hard to beat alcohol once it gets going, but it's much longer lasting because with the Trangia you can snuff it and fill it out. If you have like a T27 or a T25, one of those sets, like it's designed around it, and I've seen people cook like 3-course meals on it. So it is very useful for that type of setup. The white gas, you don't hear very much about it. It's for gasoline. I shook the table a little bit. It's for like gasoline stoves and lanterns. So like your Coleman 533, some of the big Coleman, some of them were propane, but some of them were white gas. And they're like large 2-burner. They're green. They have a big metal frame. Typically like that. Now they'll get really high BTUs. Almost, I'd have to say, it rivals propane. If they're primed, it's a good clean source. I have a 533. I'll do a review on it, and it's fast. It's as fast, if maybe not even faster than my propane unit. We have an MSR pocket rocket, and it does pretty good. But these cans typically get kind of expensive. What do you do with them? You know, when you get so many of them, they don't stack well. You can't really refill them. I've seen people on YouTube doing it, but I'd rather not. It just doesn't seem safe enough for me. So again, these 3 over here, and we add wood in there. I don't have any. I was going to bring a piece of wood, but I think you get the idea. And wood, you know, your stick stoves, your wood type stoves, you can do a lot of cooking on them. They generate a lot of heat. Charcoal, I mean, it's kind of between the two. It takes a really long time to get hot, to get up to temperature. It's relatively heavy. It's kind of dirty, so I didn't even throw it in there. But if you add into this category over here, like wood stoves, stick stoves, you can kind of get a lot of things going. The biggest problem with that is it's hard to regulate the heat, where most of these right here, once they're burning and they have a constant burn, they're adjustable. A lot of times you can usually adjust this. Again, with the 533, there's an adjustment knob. And even with your Trangia, I'm actually talking about the Trangia Mini, that setup. You have a snuffer, or I'm sorry, not a snuffer, but you have a simmer attachment. So you can kind of adjust the flame coming out. So you don't have to just go full octane just by lighting it. You can kind of adjust it and cook with whatever you want. You can put one pot on, cook a little bit, set it off to the side, put a lid on it, and start cooking with the other one. So just so when you watch some of my videos, you actually know what I'm talking about, and I'm just not talking about something you have no idea about. So like I say, these are for catering, fondue sets. Typically they a lot of times they'll do cheese or chocolate in them and heat them up. You don't want to get them too hot, but you just want to, because you don't want to burn it, but you just want to keep them warm. So you have like dippy cheese and dippy chocolate. Hand sanitizer, it has its dual purpose as its hand sanitizer, so you can clean with it. So you could probably even wash a pot with it. And then rinse it with clean water, like if you're out camping or hiking, or some boiling water. I'm not really sure. And then you can use it as fuel in a pinch. It's not the best, but it will work. Hopefully I've proven that. And then these Hexamine Tablets. There's a bunch of different makers, bunch of different sizes. As far as I know, Espit and Expedition Research are some of the highest BTU ones for what they are. The nice thing about these is, I mean, you could just put a piece of foil down, you know, or a couple rocks, and then light this and get quite a bit. Most of these will burn about 15 minutes. I'll just say that. 12, you know, some of them go 12 to 18. They run about 15 minutes. After that, there is a small flame. But, you know, on the pouch on your survival knife, if you had everything just like decked out on it, you've got a loop for your ferro rod, you got all the other stuff there. Like, how many of these could you fit in your front pouch? I mean, probably quite a lot. And once you scrape them, you can strike them with a ferro rod. It's a little bit tricky if you don't know, but if you just try it, scrape it a little bit, and then spark into it, you usually get it. So these things are the size. So here's an 8-pack, and you can see the size. I mean, it's an 8-pack. They run about 15 minutes, you know. So that's quite a bit of fuel, guaranteed burn time for the size that it is. And then over here, let's say we talked about the Trangia for a little bit. Once you get one Trangia Mini, I mean, you just keep refilling it. You know, you don't really have to purchase more. you purchase more fuel, but once you have the stove itself, you're kind of set. Same as the Coleman 533, or one of their larger dual burner camp stoves. So once you get one, you just refill it. Like I said, we don't use a lot of propane anymore because it's getting kind of hard to find and getting expensive in our area. But the same thing, once you get a really decent head, like a burner head for your propane, like the Pocket Rocket, you just buy the fuel, because that's all you really need to do. When you get into these, typically you're getting a windscreen. You're getting, you have to get a container to put it in. You have to build kind of a little stove setup. So typically these are the more expensive options, but a lot of stuff's already with them. These ones you kind of build out of pieces. All right, we're about 10 minutes. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. Thanks.